From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBI Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports bet show, the PrimeTime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great, and it is the first show of 2023. And man, it was a great weekend for sports as well, too. A great sports weekend. Great games Saturday for the CFP. Also, some really good games in the NFL yesterday as well, too. There's lots of some blowouts going on in the NFL yesterday as well, but we'll talk more about the NFL because, we got the final week this week. We got the NFL Bet Exchange tomorrow, so you guys make sure to tune in for that. That will be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so you guys be ready for that. But and also I'll be talking NFL playoff picture tomorrow, but I want to get more into what happened this weekend and why it's so huge. The college football playoff is now headed to Los Angeles for the final. And as after crazy CFP, we are set for LA as defending champs. Georgia faces off with TCU. How were they able to pull it off? Both teams. Well, let's start with TCU. TCU jumped out to a 14-0 lead, never looked back. Even though they did win the game 51-45, you had a points in the game where you pretty much said to yourself, hey, this one can be a good little barometer, of, some adversity for old Michigan. But what happened was Michigan kind of played really bad, in my opinion. I think that they were able to still keep the game close, but they weren't used to having to score points that quickly and be down. They had already had a game where they pretty much stopped a team that could do that to them. That was Ohio State. But that was a great game plan that was executed, and that was more about pride, and that was more about the situation, and it was fast and physical and things like that, but TCU was physical as well, too. So TCU was able to take care of their business, and Dugan looked like the more experienced quarterback there. He was able to be big when he needed to be big. And what happened was those two pick sixes were the difference in the game. It's just that simple. And McCarthy, I felt he was the best quarterback going into all these bowl games this year, but he's a guy who still needs to learn how to do his job. You know what I mean? And he played really well because he had a great running game behind him. He had a great player behind him, as we like to say in college football, game breaker behind him in Corum. So, and you had one in Edwards as well too, somewhat. But those guys didn't arrive for that game. Corum was out. Edwards had, I think, probably one big run in that game. You were expecting more from him, but they had to pass so much, it just kind of didn't matter. And those key mistakes, fumbling the ball at the goal line, not taking the field goal early, just a lot of things that just really, really messed Michigan up. And I think that Michigan was a little too excited in this game. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. Michigan couldn't do their part. Ohio State was up 10 at one point in the game. They absolutely brought everything but the kitchen sink for Georgia. They were not scared of Georgia. They did not fear Georgia. But Georgia was a team that just has so many. They got so many playmakers. They got game breakers straight up. And they got them on both sides of the ball. And CJ Stroud had to put on the tape of his life to show the NFL that he is a top 15 pick. I had my doubts all year long, but last night proved to me, Saturday night proved to me that that guy is more than ready to be solid starter in the NFL. I won't call him a star yet, but he will be a really good starter for whoever he plays for, but he has to get to the right place. That's not the Jets. You know what I mean? That's not a place like going to Miami or something like that. I think that if Houston's able to get him, that will be a perfect fit for that team moving forward. Or New Orleans. I say New Orleans and Houston both need to draft a quarterback. And I'm saying to myself right now that either it's going to be Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. Those are the best two quarterbacks, like everybody's been saying, and they are top 15 guys when you look at how this draft is shaking up now. You know, it's just other quarterbacks. Just after you name those two, what do you have, though? That's the biggest thing for me. But Ohio State was tremendous. But I think what happened to Ohio State was the confidence kind of went. They lost a little bit of confidence when they lost Marvin Harrison, because Marvin Harrison was able to get a lot of things going. Either he was catching the ball or he was taking so much attention with them that he was opening up plays for other players as well too. You just really wished Ohio State could have had a solidified running game. That was the biggest problem with Ohio State this season, is that the running game was not the same running game that we used to with the J.K. Dobbins of the world. You know, the Carlos Hydes, where that offensive line, where their first objective is run blocking. You know what I mean? Now they became such a pass-friendly team that has kind of messed up the perception of what Ohio State truly is. And I know these are things that they will make the adjustments for coming up next this offseason. But they played a hell of a game, and you just really wish it could have been the national championship, because we all know that 2-3 was damn near a constellation game. We saw the national championship Saturday between Georgia and Ohio State. No offense to TCU, and knowing me, since I love a dog, I'll probably take them on a spread, because I took TCU on a spread Saturday against Michigan for my clients. So I thought that they would make it a lot closer than most assumed, and I even said that on this show as well too. So, you know, and we did get our money in the first quarter as well too on TCU. So at the end of the day, man, it's just something that is very unfortunate for both Big Ten powers. But, you know, the NCAA set this up. The committee set this up with the idea that we would get, of all things, we will get a big laugh with two Big Ten teams playing for the national championship in Los Angeles. That would have been incredible, watching Ohio State and Michigan play for the national championship of all places in LA. So it wouldn't have been a weather issue. But Georgia looks like they're probably going to repeat again and be the first repeat champion in like 20 years. Who named the last team that repeated as a champion? Yeah, it was Florida. So it's crazy because Alabama still hasn't got a back-to-back. So that would be big for Georgia to get a back-to-back. But I would say this, though. Georgia would not be going undefeated next season because a lot of their group is about to leave. And we'll see how it goes. But it was a great games. And we'll talk about this a lot as we move forward. I'll be digging into stuff and just going through it. But my thing is like this. I'm going to end it with this. I am from the days where I remember the days when I was first watching college football until they got to what we call the BCS. And that was kind of a bad system because it was a number system that kind of used to get skewed and manipulated. But I always felt that now when I look at it, the writers and the AP and the coaches poll. And I say this, the coaches poll and the AP probably are the most accurate things when it comes to college football. And I think at the end of the day, we really are starting to realize that the old system, there was nothing wrong with that either. Because when you actually put the best team in the nation against the second best team in the nation, I've seen it literally 90% of the time, the best team in the nation wins, and they win by a lot. So all this talk about this team would have beat this team and this team would have beat that team, I think the writers had it right. And that's just my point. It's been kind of digging at me a little bit. So if you guys are watching the show right now or you watch the show on replay later on, just go ahead, throw something in the comment section so we can get some talk going, because I truly do feel like when it comes down to the big enchilada things, that the writers have always had it right to where this team is the best team in the nation. And this has been proven in like the last decade, where if Alabama absolutely crushes the competition in the national championship game. Clemson absolutely crushed the competition in the championship game. LSU did the same as well too. The only one you can say that was a true, like, man, we didn't see that coming, was the first one, Ohio State beating Oregon and Alabama. That's simple. That's simple. All right, so we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next topic in hand, and that's going to be the Rose Bowl. And, you know, the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all in my city, Pasadena, California. And boy, oh boy, I love this game. I love this stadium, and this is a real historic one because it's the 100th one, and this is pretty much either, I would say, the second to last one before we reintroduce the CFP playoff, where it's going to be 12 teams. They're going to use the Rose Bowl as, I think, one of the semifinal locations, or a final location. They'll switch it around, but the Rose Bowl will not be what the Rose Bowl has been for the last 100 years. You know what I mean? It still will have a parade and all that stuff, but the classic Pac-12 Big Ten game will be probably gone, and you know, you either get to keep the name of the game or it moves on. And that's the ultimatum that the Rose Bowl has been getting pretty much for the last 15 years. And you know, it's just a sign of the times, and change is happening. You know what I mean? I've lost a lot, but I have to understand there's change going on everywhere. And this is a thing that's a part of that. So this game is a little emotional today for a lot of people who love the Rose Bowl and everything like that. And you would have loved to see a California school probably in this game today, but that team is playing in Texas today, going against Tulane. That's USC, and UCLA was not called. So, you know, Utah, a good option though. Utah did show up with a big crowd last year, and they did lose a game that was pretty, you know, you say to yourself, like, damn, that was a bad situation for that team, because that team played so good for so long in that game, wound up still smoking the game. Ohio State wound up winning the game. It was a crazy comeback for Ohio State as well too, because Utah was doing anything they wanted. And I know Utah still has that bitter taste in their mouth from last year. So when we look at this one, we have ourselves a matchup between number 8 Utah, who's 9-3 this season, actually 10-3 this year, and then you have Penn State, Penn State coming into the game 10-2. All right, so when I got in my numbers that I have for you guys on my stats for the Rose Bowl, you have a Penn State team coming in here. They're the favorite, and rightfully so. Reason being, they're 8-3-1 against the spread. As a favorite, they're 7-2-1 against the spread. Versus non-conference, 2-1 against the spread. Now, when it comes down to straight up, they're undefeated as a favorite, 10-0. And then straight up, versus the non-conference, they're 3-0. And when it comes down to over and unders, very surprising. They've went over in 8 out of their 12 games this season. Now you have Utah, who comes in here 8-5 against the spread. They've only been an underdog twice during the season, and they were 1-1 straight up and against the spread in that position. And versus non-conference, they're 2-1 against the spread and straight up. They had a bad loss to start the season off against Florida. They have went over in 7 out of their 13 games this year as well too. So when I look at this one, I have this feeling that Utah is going to get their revenge from last year. Penn State hasn't won a Rose Bowl since the 90s. I think the last time they won was 1995 against Oregon. I know it was the Oregon game the last time they won a Rose Bowl, but they really haven't had the best of luck coming into the Rose Bowl the last few times either. They had to square up against USC. USC beat them in the last minute game the last time, but before that, USC absolutely demolished Penn State. So Penn State has been here the last few times, hasn't done well. Utah went for the first time last year, got a taste of the roses, almost won the game. They want to come back and get it all the way right and entertain their very large base that has followed them out here to my beautiful city of Pasadena, California. And the Rose Parade was off the hook once again this year. We had the B1 Lancer fly by this year. I was corrected. So, it was just another great day for football in the city of Pasadena, and it's the first days of the year, and this is officially New Year's Day, because yesterday is technically New Year's Day, but today is really New Year's Day because it's a Monday, 1-2, and people didn't do much yesterday with the holiday, but sit back and watch some NFL. So let's jump into the Monday night preview. And the Monday night preview is a good one. We got Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. And you know what? Shout out to the LA Waves, my fantasy football team in the Mike Abadir League. They are going to be the champions. We just got to get this game over with. Josh Allen is my quarterback as well, too. Joe Mixon's on the other team, but I'm already up 50 points. So it is what it is. There's only those two players left. It's pretty much officially done. I had players in double digits left and right in that game, so it's all good. Now, this game is very crucial to the AFC chase for the playoffs. Now, this is for seeding. Now, when you see this game, you're going to say to yourself, this will really settle who the number one seed is going to be, because you have a Bengals team that's 11-4. You have the Bills who are 12-3. The Bills need to win their next two to get the spot, to get in the to get into that spot. Now, Cincinnati, what they need to do is Cincinnati needs to win this week, and they need to win next week, and they need Kansas City to lose, because they do have that advantage against Kansas City, but Kansas City does have one less loss than the Bengals, but the Bengals haven't lost in a while. Bengals are riding a 7-game streak going into this game. And then you have Buffalo riding a streak of their own coming into the game as well, too. Buffalo's coming in here riding a 6-game winning streak. So this is going to be a really, really good game. And these teams will probably see each other again, but this is going to be a good preview of the playoffs that we are going to be getting ourselves into. From what I can see, this is going to be possibly the game of the year, at least in the AFC. Now, we thought we had a great game with the Chiefs and the Bengals. That was awesome. And then we had another great game with the Bills and the Chiefs. That was awesome, too. And the thing that both these teams have in common, they beat the Chiefs, who are highly favored by everybody except for me. So the thing is, this game, to me, really settles on, it's too early to call, because I think the AFC is a lot more open than it feels. You know what I mean? Even Jacksonville, who's slowly creeping up here, who's probably going to wind up winning their division, because the Titans have Josh Dobbs starting at quarterback Saturday. So everybody's already rolling their eyes that they're done. Why you're not going to start a rookie? You know what I mean? You're not going to start a rookie in a game that big. Malik Willis hasn't earned the right to start, and the coach is telling you that right now. It's that simple. He did start a game, but it didn't work out the way that they wanted it to. But you got the Chargers 10-6. You got Baltimore 10-6. It looks like the Chargers will possibly be the 5 seed. So that means they get to have a rematch with Jacksonville, who beat them 38-10. And it's crazy that they get a rematch with Jacksonville because a lot of us thought that was a fluke day, 38-10, fluke day. No, Jacksonville is actually that good. And if you don't play them correctly, they'll do that to you. So the Chargers, if they were to play a game, they're kind of in over their heads. But let me keep it to where I'm at. I don't want to trail off. I'm rolling like this. I think Buffalo sends a absolute message to the whole NFL. And I'm doing this because I know that they are my Super Bowl pick for this year. They're already the bet. You know, they're a 6-1 ticket right now. And I think that we can get that ticket home still. And I think the Bills will prevail. I think that they'll wind up coming to Cincinnati and they'll just be ready for the big game situation. I know Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl. Everything worked out very well for them, but this is a new season, and Buffalo is really focused on being great this year. And they know that they have obstacles in front of them, and they're ready to go ahead and hop those obstacles. And what makes you really comfortable with the Bills is that this team is only giving up 263 points, and that's the least amount of points in the league because they're actually a point shy of San Francisco, who has the best defense in the league. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. It should be a good one, and we'll go from there. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break, and when I get back, we're going to jump into some college basketball. Then we're going to jump into State of the Lakers and then some NBA and then another break. And then we have Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune into Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live. Let's go ahead and jump into the CBB game of the night, and that's going to be the Rutgers at Purdue, number 1 in the nation. You got Rutgers coming in this game 9-4. You got Purdue coming into the game at a good number at 13-zip on the year. They've had some of the best wins in college basketball this year as well, too. So that's a lot. That's a lot to be, desired and things of that nature. And I think this team is on to something. This team is on to something big. You know what I mean? I think that they can be whatever they really want this year because it's really hard to sit up in here and say, all right, we know exactly who the champion is going to be because it's not as predictable as college basketball used to be. A lot of these teams are the same type of team. And as I said many years ago, rankings really don't matter anymore because you can have a team that's ranked up and they'll be the number 1 team in the nation, and that'll happen for about a week. Or then you can have a team that's number 1 in the nation, and they're number 1 in the nation for 6 weeks. They go into the tournament. They lose in the first weekend of the tournament. Okay, so, and everybody said, oh, I knew it was going to happen. You know what I mean? So pretty much This game is a really tough game for Purdue. Purdue is playing against Rutgers. Yes, that's from last year at Jersey Mike's arena where Rutgers plays. Purdue came in there, number one team in the nation. They lost that game, but they had Ron Harper Jr. They had a really good cast of characters for that Rutgers team. This year, Rutgers is a little different. They're still good, 9-4, but they're not as good as that team last year, and they're playing at Purdue this time around. So Purdue comes into this game ready. They're ready for this time around. But Rutgers comes into this game hot. They've won their last 3 in a row after kind of a bumpy start to the season. And when you look at the way that Purdue has approached this season, it's been absolutely tremendous. They really got everybody's attention, blowing away Gonzaga and blowing away Duke in Portland that weekend, and winning that tournament as well too. The Phil Knight Invitational was tough, and West Virginia, who's playing tonight, number 24, they beat them by 12 in that spot. So this is a team that is focused right now. And they know that they could have did so much more last year. But once again, they get a little antsy when they get in these tournaments. So I think that when it comes down to it, these teams are both gonna bring their best tonight. But I think that Purdue's best is much better than Rutgers. So I truly do feel like the 8.5 looks like it's possibly a good number for Rutgers, but it's not. A good number for Rutgers is like 13.5, 14.5, in my opinion, because they're going to lose this game by 15 or better, in my opinion. So I like Purdue tonight with the 8.5. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Let's go ahead and get into the state of the Lakers. And the Lakers are in Charlotte tonight, trying to get back against that team, against the Hornets, who absolutely came out and shocked all of us with a nice little win over the Lakers, who felt like they were going to get themselves a good little win. They were struggling kind of bad going into that game, and it seemed like that was going to be an easy out, but it wasn't. It was a part of their 4-game losing streak. Then they were able to get on the road, win 2 out of 3. Now they finish up this road trip in Charlotte, and they're looking to try to get themselves a nice little win over the Hornets, who are led by LaMelo Ball. And LaMelo Ball comes into this game, fresh off he was hurt for a bit, but he's back. Miles Bridges is back as well too. I think he's back. It looks like he's coming back because that's what they keep saying. No, he's not. They said he might not be returning after all, but they reached out to him already. But somebody's going to pick him up. Lakers, be silly. You should pick him up. All right, so this Hornets team lost 11 games last month, only won 3. Lakers were one of their wins. LaMelo's back. Actually, they won 4 games last month, and they lost 14. So, yeah, it was bad for them last month. It really was. Like, they lost 13 games, and they won 4. And pretty much all these games were really spread out because they did have an 8-game losing streak as well, too, in the process. Now, they've been a little better here over their last – they were a little better to end the month, after the losing. But they're just a bad team. It's just that simple. But in games where teams are not that good, they're gonna have a chance. And I just really do feel like there's not much to talk about because we already saw what happened last week. The Lakers just need to take them a little bit more seriously. And if they do that, the Lakers can really go ahead and blow out the Hornets. It's not much to talk about here. The Lakers got a really good win at Atlanta on Friday. They were able to get the next few days off as well, too. So that means that guys got to just hang out a little bit and just have a good time, or just, just hang out a little bit, jump on a flight, hang in the room. Didn't get to do New Year's with their families or anything, but still, this is a good little way to say, okay, this is a business trip. Let's go handle our business. Let's finish up the trip 2-2. Let's start the year off right. I think that's all I need to say about this game. We don't need to get into a heavy report detail about what the Lakers need to do tonight. They need to win. It's that simple, and this is a very winnable game. That's it, and that's all, and we move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next topic in hand, and that's going to be for our NBA Monday night. Monday night in the NBA always shows up for a good little moment, and I think that we got ourselves some action because now the NBA is back in motion. So we got more than 4 games tonight. So we do have a good number of games here in the NBA, and we started off with the Raptors and the Pacers. The Raptors coming in here 16-20. The Pacers are 20-17. Both these teams looking to make some big moves in 2023. Raptors still chasing the playoffs. Pacers are in a good position right now, but we'll have to see. The Pacers do lead the season series 118, 1-0. They won the first meeting of the year 118-104 over these Raptors. The Raptors did win their last game though against the Suns at home. They beat them 113-104. Also, they were 5-10 in the month of December. They were really bad in December, but they got a good win to close out the month. Also, they are 18-18 against the spread, 5-12 straight up on the road, 5-11 straight up as an underdog, and then in their 36 games, they've went over 19 times. Now, the Pacers coming here, they won their last game, 131-130 versus the Clippers. They've won 3 in a row to end the month, December 8-8 overall. Now, against the spread, they're 22-15. At home, they're 12-7. As a favorite, they're 7-3. And then when it comes down to their 37 games, they went under 19 times. Now, the way that I see it, I see the Pacers coming out here and doing exactly what they did in the first game and taking care of their business this time at home and getting themselves a really, really good win here. I think that they entertain their home crowd for the first night of the year, and then you get a good number here as well, too. I'm getting -120 on the money line. I love that number for if we got to spend a little bit of insurance money. So there it is with the -120. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward to possibly the game of the night between the Sixers and the Pelicans. This game will be in Philly as well, too. You have a Pelicans team that comes into this one looking to bounce back. This team was pretty funny last month. They won 6 in a row, then lost. They won 6 in a row last month, then wound up losing. I think like 3 in a row, 4 in a row, something like that. And then they came back around and won 5 in a row again. So they just had their five-game winning streak snapped. Actually, yeah, and they lost the last game of the month. So they had a 4-game losing streak, a 6-game winning streak, and a 5-game winning streak, and they lost the last game of the month. They're 19-17 against the spread. They're 7-5 versus the East this year against the spread. They're also 7-9 straight up on the road. They're 7-6 straight up as an underdog, and they're 8-4 straight up versus the Eastern Conference. So that's pretty good. And also, quick update, real quick, if you got some action going on, Suns Knicks. The Knicks are up 54-29. That's pretty surprising, but not really because the Suns are really kind of a travesty this season, to be honest with you. But Pelicans, 76ers, I'm trying to confirm if they played each other this year as well, too. I mean, this season. Yeah, and the Pelicans beat them in New Orleans 127-116. All right, so and I think we probably reviewed that game as well too. So you do have the Pelicans that are sitting. Pelicans are 8-4 versus the East, and then they've went over in 21 of their 36 games. Now the Sixers coming to this game um, pretty hot. They won their last game, 115 to 96 at OKC, and then they finished 9-4 last. They finished 9-4 in December. They won 9 out of 11 games after 0-2 start to the month, so that was pretty good with that team. What they did, they also won 8 in a row as well too. They're 20-14-1 against the spread, one of the better records in the league. They're 8-4 against the spread versus the West. They're 14-5 at home straight up. 16-8 straight up is a favorite. 7-5 versus the West straight up, and they're 19-6, and they've went over 19 times in their 35 games. I think that this one here calls for the Pelicans to be huge and be good, and they really did. This was a straight up game as well too with the 76ers. I like the Pelicans tonight as the dog of the day. They're getting plus 150, even though, the spread says 4.5 right now. It's dipping down, and it's at 3.5 as we speak. I took the plus 150 money line for this game. So there it is. As you guys can see, 4.5 point spread, over under 227.5. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Let's go ahead and get into a Texas two-step game, and it's the Mavs and the Rockets. And I feel like this is becoming the Mavericks super high five because it seems like they're in this bad boy every day. They did win their last game, 126-125 at San Antonio against the Spurs. They finished the month of December on a 6-game winning streak, going 11-6 overall. So they were having a losing record. Then they stepped it up, came out with a winning record for the month. 13-22-2 against the spread. That got to get fixed. 6-11 straight up on the road. 2-10 straight up as a favorite. And then they're 4-2 straight up versus their division, the Southwest. Now, in 37 games, they went over 22 times. The Rockets lost their last game by 20, 108-88 to the Knicks at home, and they dropped to 5-10, and also dropped 8 out of 9 games, including the last 3 in a row to close the month. Also 16-18-2 against the spread. Their record kind of went to the wayside. They were much better against the spread a few weeks back. 6-11 straight up at home, 10-23 straight up as the dog, and then they are 1-6 straight up versus the Southwest. So the Rockets are struggling right now, but the Rockets do give up a lot of points, and they tend to score a lot of points. They're at home tonight, and that's what usually happens. It's the first game of the year, so let's see how it goes, see how it shakes out. But I like the over in this spot, and the Rockets are, as usual, plus 7.5. This has been the spread literally all season against the Mavericks this year. And then they are 21-16 coming in the Mavs, while you have a Rockets team that's 10-26. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. But I do like the over 226 here. Let's see how it goes, though. We move forward. Let's jump into our next game, which is going to be the Hawks and the Warriors. The Hawks come into the game 17-19. The Warriors are 19-19. They're 1.5 point spread in the game, over under 236.5. You have a Hawks team that lost their last game to the Lakers, as I just said prior. They lost that game 130-121. Also, they dropped 3 in a row to end the month of December, 5-9 overall. 14-21-1 against the spread. On the road, they're 6-11 as an underdog. They're 5-10, and these are both straight up. Versus the West, straight up, they're 4-5, and then when it comes down to their 36 games, they've went over in 21 of them. Warriors won their last game 118-112 versus the Blazers. Won 4 in a row to close out the month, 8-7, but all those games were at home as well too. 17-19-1 against the spread. 16-2 straight up at home. 14-8 straight up as a favorite. 7-10 straight up versus the Eastern Conference this year. They've struggled. A lot of those games have been on the road as well too. And when it comes down to the over-under, in 37 games, they went over 20 times. So I like the under in this spot tonight. It seems like the Warriors have been playing much better defense at home, and they've been winning these games at home. I'm saying tonight, though, I don't know if they win this game. I think that they could possibly be an overbet because the number is calling for everybody to bet the Warriors, but there's something more there because there's no Steph Curry there. So this could be a motivational game for the Hawks, who are coming off of a bad loss to the Lakers, because they could have beat the Lakers in that game, but they smoked the league. So it is what it is at the end of the day. So pretty much there it is. And I like the under in this spot. I think that's where we go here. I think that defense is going to be at an absolute premium tonight. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward into the final game of the night, which is the Clippers and the Heat. And the Heat come into this game 19-18. The Clippers come in here 21-17. You have a Clippers team that really is looking to start getting some separation. You have a Heat team that's looking to get back at the top of their division and start getting some separation as well too. Really good win Saturday night versus Utah. They beat them 126-123 in Utah. Also, they won 3 out of 4 to close up the month, 9-6. 13-22-2 against the spread. That's not good, but that means that this team is really not worried about blowing you away. They just try to win the game. And on the road, they're 7-10 straight up as an underdog this year. They're 4-8 as a dog this year. Also 11-7 straight up versus the Western Conference. So that's something that you check off for the Heat, saying that makes you confident in a team, and that's why you got to spread at 2.5 tonight as well too. Also, you have had the Heat play in 37 games. They've actually went ahead and went over in 19 of them. So the Clippers lost their last game 131-130 in Indiana, and then lost their last 2 games of December, going 8-7 overall. They're 20-18 against the spread. They're 11-7 straight up at home. They're 16-7 straight up as a favorite. 10-6 straight up versus the East, and they've went under in 22 of their 38 games. I truly do feel. Oh, okay. And here goes another announcement, you guys. They have flexed Lions-Packers to the Saturday night game. So crazy. Saturday night game has been flexed to the Sunday night game has been flexed to the Lions and the Packers. That's absolutely amazing. I know the Lions nobody expected that. But all in all, I think that the Clippers take care of their business. You can take the Clippers on the spread tonight. I think they win this game by 5, 6, 7 points, maybe double digits tonight, because the Heat coming off of a good win against Utah. But it seems like they have a real issue with teams that are upper echelon like the Clippers, and I think that's exactly going to be the case tonight. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. And this is what we're going to do. When I get back, we're going to go ahead and talk those tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into Talking Tickets, and Talking Tickets should be good. And here we are. Up first, let's go ahead and jump into the Rose Bowl bets. Rose Bowl, I got Utah plus 105. We also got the under 26.5 first half, plus half a point first quarter for Utah. And also I got Penn State going under 26.5 team total. All right, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the CBB PrimeTime PK6 54-1. I got Penn money line minus 125. They're playing Brown today, and that's Pennsylvania for you guys as well too. The guys, people that act like they don't understand acronyms, but yes, it's Penn U, Pennsylvania University. Then we have Purdue, who's minus 8.5 tonight. Then I'm throwing in West Virginia tonight at plus 130 in their spot against Oklahoma State. Then we have Jacksonville State going against Jacksonville tonight. I'm taking the plus 5.5 in that spot. Then we also have the Florida Gulf Coast playing tonight. I love them in this spot. I'm taking them with the -9. And then I got Grambling, HBCU, the swag, dog. We got the +2 on the Grambling tonight, and that's going to be a 54-1 ticket. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. This is the CBB PrimeTime PK6 54-1, and I did tweet out the swag bets list today. I also tweeted out the Patriot League bets list today, and I also tweeted out the I'm trying to remember the last one I tweeted out. Well, you guys got it, because I tweeted that out for you guys earlier because, the CBB bets list literally every day. So you guys, the Atlantic Sun put that conference out as well too. So you guys, hopefully that helped you out. That was 15 tickets for you. All right. So we have the NBA Super High Five, 31-1. We have the Pacers minus 120. Also, Pelicans money line plus 150. The over 226.5 to the Mavs and Rockets. The under 237, Hawks Warriors. And then we finish up with the 2.5 to the Clippers on the minus. And then for our final installment, we have the Monday Night Football bets. I got 2.5 on the Bills. They should win this game by a touchdown or better, not a field goal or better, touchdown or better. I'm that confident in the Bills tonight. The over 24.5 first half. The Bills money line first quarter minus 130. And then I got the Bengals going under 23.5 team total. I don't even think the Bengals get to the 20 mark, to be honest with you. I really do think the Bills really send a message in this spot. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, but this will be a really good game. I look forward to it, and it's probably going to be the best Monday Night Football game of the year as well, too. So we all look forward to it, and you guys are the absolute best. I thank you so much for tuning in to our first show of the year. And I know I was almost thinking about just falling back, just sending out plays today, but I said, nope, we got a show to do. So I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking some boxing because we got some big fights coming up this weekend. Want to talk about Boots' co-feature on the Tank card. Also want to talk about some other things, like virgin stenosis and things like that. Also talk about the AP Top 25 that's just been released as well too. Who should be in the top 10, who shouldn't be in the top 10 this week. And then NFL playoff picture, some more NBA for you tomorrow as well too, some more college basketball as well. So you guys be ready. The Premier Sports Betting Show will be back tomorrow at noon. So I look forward to it. I hope you guys do too. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And I'll be back to you tomorrow. And this is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles. And I am gone.
the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.